join your session. So, Jen will be talking about success without sacrifice, and her gift is Power Paul's Checklist, recharging strategies for ambitious women. So, welcome, Jen.
Thanks, Pamela. It's so great to be here.
Awesome. So great to have you. You are all set to screen share if you need to screen share.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So first off, I just want to ask, and just get a kind of feel for where you guys are at. And raise your digital hand or raise your hand and just give me a little bit of a wave. Like, how many of you would like to have unlimited energy all day long? Just give me a wave or raise your digital hand, right? How many of you would love to feel peaceful and ready to take on any challenge in your life on any given day with ease? Raise your hand, just give me a little wave. And how many of you would like to release all of the excess weight you're carrying around and feel 10 years younger? Go ahead and give me a double wave on that one. Right, that's why we're here today, right? And Pamela, the panel that you have put together of speakers is incredible, and I'm super honored to be a part of it. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I really want to share with you today how you can create success without sacrifice. I think so often we get into this space where we have sacrificed ourselves. We are in this space where we are taking all of the things on a daily basis, and yet we're successful on paper, but we're surviving our days. We're in this place where we're not really thriving. And so I want to show you today how you can be able to have it all. You guys game for that? Like, that's truly possible, and I want to share with you exactly how to do that. So, 1 second, I somehow managed to adjust my view where I don't see myself in the gallery anymore. Yes, awesome, Judith. I love that. Love that. I'm so glad that you guys are here today, because what we're going to talk about is really how you can create optimal health through what I call my optimal life formula. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. And I'm just going to share just a couple minutes about myself, if that's okay. We can kind of get to know each other a little bit better. So I have a beautiful 8-year-old daughter. That's Riley there in the middle. And you'll notice really quickly, I'm not a tech genius. You'll notice that very, very quickly. Let me see if I can do a slideshow. Maybe. There we go. All right, so that's my daughter, Riley there. She's 8. I'm blessed with a ton of family. I get to wake up every single day and really live my life by design. I'm passionate about the work that I do. I get to travel around the world, educating and empowering and inspiring men and women to truly reclaim their health and recharge their lives. But it hasn't always been that way. Like, I'm very fortunate today, but my journey, and we all have our journey, right? We all have things that we've experienced, that we've gone through, that have put us where we are at today. And today you may be sitting here and you may be in an amazing place in your life, and you may be in a place where it's not so great. And you're really ready and looking for a change. So you're either 10xing what you've already got or looking for a change. And we all have these seasons, right? So when I was 26, my mom, who had multiple sclerosis my entire life, went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in 6 weeks. Now, at that time, I put on my caregiver hat and I did whatever I could to be able to support her in that, because I was the good daughter. I was the one that was dutiful. I was the one that was always there for her. And I was successful in supporting her. Then a few years later, I was 36 and I got married. Well, then I put on my wife hat and my caregiver hat. How many of you guys can relate to that? Like, you have multiple roles that you're wearing all the time. And then I was building a successful career, and I had a business that was doing $500,000 a year. And I had all of these things that were working until they weren't. And then I found myself in this last picture where nothing felt like it was working. I was in a really toxic marriage. I was going through the motions in my business. I was trying to figure out how to raise my daughter when I was in a state where I had no family and no real support. And I put myself in a position where I became everything to everyone. I was mom's caretaker. I was spouse. I was business owner. I was mom. Anybody relate to that? right? Where you've just done all of the things and you're in the place where you're exhausted, you're burning out, you're fatigued, and you still have capacity to do what you need to do and want to do, but there can sometimes build this exhaustion or this frustration or sometimes even resentment for all of the things that we have to do as we're doing. And I just want you to know that it doesn't have to stay that way. But that's where I started. And really through this journey, I learned a few really key things. One is that if you don't have a vibrant vision of something you're going after in life, we get stuck in just going through the motions. We get stuck in living our life for other people that we care about and we want the best for, but we're not living it for us. I work with a lot of women that are 40, 45, 50 plus, and they've gotten in this place where they've done all of the things for the last couple of decades. They've given everything that they have since they were in their 20s or they got married or they started a family. And they've given everything, but there's not a whole lot left for them. And I came to recognize that health is our greatest wealth. That was a huge wake-up call with my mom. I mean, she was doing all the medical things that she could. She was on all the preventative drugs. And yet at the age of 49, ended up in a nursing home. And that was something I never wanted to experience for her or myself, right? And we choose our happiness or our misery, right? We get to choose not just where we're at. Sometimes we don't have a choice in that, but we absolutely get to have a choice in how we show up. And when we can dial these three things, it is amazing at how powerful we can become and we can feel and what we can create in our life when we have these three principles in place. I'm going to give you an example of this. But first, I want to just kind of get a feel for the room. Like, are you burnt out or are you lit up? When you think about your life today, do you wake up and a 10 out of 10 is like, man, I wake up in the morning, I am excited about my life. I bounce out of bed. I can't wait to take on the day. I feel happiness and joy and peace and fulfillment in my life. That's a 10 out of 10, right? Think about a kid on Christmas morning or your first day of vacation. And a 1 out of 10 is like, oh, I got to get up. I got to get up, snooze 3 times. I got to get up. And then we start our day and we go through the motions. We go to work and we go home, we make dinner, and we just keep going through the motions. Then we go to bed. Then we get to get up and do it all over again. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd love for you to just put in the chat, like, where are you right now? Are you at a 10 out of 10? Are you at a 5 out of 10? Are you at a 1 out of 10? I see burnout and bored. Yeah, a little bit burnt out. Like when we get, so often we're just racing through our days and we don't stop and check in to where we're at, but then we don't get to live our best life. So I see a 5, a 4, 6 out of 10, right? So we're in this different area, burnt out at 4. Yeah, and I really want you to know that you get to be at a 10 out of 10. Like that's your birthright. You were put on this earth not to just exist, but to truly thrive. And not just to get through the days, but to wake up feeling absolutely amazing each and every day. And I know that sometimes when we're in those seasons, like when I was in the lowest point of my marriage, it was like, oh, I'm checking the boxes, but that's really all I had capacity for. And today I get to live an abundant life. And I'm going to share with you exactly how to do that. And for many of you, you might be able to relate to Deb. Deb is a gal that when we first started working together, she had just gone through this massive situation with her work. She was in a completely stressed out state for 2 years. They were in a big lawsuit and she was the one that took the brunt of it for the entire company. She was going through and she gave everything that she had. She was working 12 to 14 hour days, so on and so forth. And for 2 years, she just put herself on the back burner. How many of you guys can relate to that? Where like, you know that you're not taking care of yourself the way that you want to and the way that you should, but you're doing the best that you can. Maybe some of you are in that space now, right? But she was 60 pounds overweight. Her cholesterol was over 800. Her liver numbers were through the roof. She's on 4 times the normal dose of metformin. And she reached out when they wanted to up it again because it still wasn't regulating her blood sugar levels. And she was overwhelmed. She was overstressed. She was overweight. She's over it. And she was really ready for a change. And some of you may not be at that desperation quite yet, but you're in a place where you're like, you're here because you're ready to take you and make you a priority. You're ready to take care of you in a bigger way, in a more intentional way, so that you get to find peace and joy in your health and your happiness. So Deb, 60 days later, is now in a place where she's thriving. She's released over 25 pounds. Her cholesterol is back under normal range. Her liver numbers are in normal range. She is off all of her metformin, and she is thriving. Now, if you've been on the diet roller coaster for decades, this may seem a little far-fetched to you, but I promise you it's 100% possible. And I'm going to share exactly what Deb did to be able to create these results. How many of you guys would like to see that and like to be able to create those same kind of results? Okay. So what Deb did is she implemented the optimal life formula. Excuse me. The optimal life formula is what I have created based on the 23 years of working with women and men and helping them to optimize their physical health. Right. I was a registered nutrition consultant for the last 23 years. I have certifications in NLP and emotional healing and mindfulness and mindset. And so I take all of my experience and I've created a formula that gives you step-by-step walk-through instructions for you to be able to go from where Deb was at to where she became. And I've helped hundreds and almost thousands of people to do the exact same thing. Okay. So it starts with a vibrant vision. You take vibrant vision, you multiply it times optimal health, and then multiply that times optimal self, and you get to live your optimal life on a daily basis. And it doesn't have to feel like it is this massive chore that you have to create, that you have to do, right? We don't need any more boxes to check off on our to-do list, right? So first I want to talk about vibrant vision. And a vision is an outcast of the future, right? We're predicting the future. We have a sense of what's coming in the future, but it's a vibrant vision. So often we set our goals and we're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. And it becomes another chore. It becomes another to do, but we're not really in a place where we're thriving yet. We just have a goal. We have somewhere we're going, and we get to create from that space. And I encourage you to create, don't escape. Oftentimes what happens is we go, I want to lose weight. I want to get healthier. I want to make more money. I want a better job. I want a better relationship. And we focus on what we don't want about where we're at right now. When we focus on what we don't want, we get more of that. Now you might think that that sounds strange because we want to go somewhere different, but it's like when they're teaching race car drivers how to win the race, what would happen if they say, whatever you do, don't hit the wall? The driver's going to hit the wall, right? Because wherever we put our attention, that's where we go. So if we want to create lasting change, we want to create this optimal life, we want to create a place where we are creating, not just escaping the pain that we're in. So what's possible on the other side? Like, I would love to hear from you. Type it in the chat for me. If you were living your optimal life, if you were living a life that you truly felt fulfilled and joy-filled and at peace and happy with, like, what would that look like for you? What would you create? What would you want to be different? How would you want that to feel? What activities would you have in there? What are the things that you want to be really passionate about? Just type one or two in the chat. Like, I'd love to kind of know where you're at and what's on your heart of what you want to create in your life. Because when we have something that pulls us forward, that inspires us, it's so much more effective than going like, I want to lose weight because I want to fit in my clothes, versus I want to release weight so that I can go hiking with my husband, on the weekends, or I want to be able to travel and put my own bags up above. I want to be able to get up and down off the floor with my kids or my grandkids, right? Wendy says, I'd be at a lodge in the mountains writing my book. That sounds amazing and peaceful, right? So what are you creating? What What is it going to take? What's the gap from where you're at now to where you want to be? But having that vision is like, oh, that's where I'm going. That's what I'm creating versus just getting out of here, right? More travel. Jenny, I'm with you 100%. Right? So what do you want to create? For Deb, what she wanted to create was she wanted to take her kids surfing on her 20-year honeymoon or our 20-year anniversary. She went on her honeymoon. She's in her 20s. And she wanted to go back and take her 10 and her 12-year-old kids surfing with her. That was her goal. So now she has a North Star of like, okay, that's what I want to do. And I want to do it in 6 months. What are the things that I want to get, that I need to get in place, that I get to put in place so that this becomes a reality? Does that make sense? Like, it's about where do you want to go, not about where you don't want to be, but where do you want to go? And it was amazing to be able to see that. I want to release weight so I can fit in an aircraft seat comfortably. Yes. And yes, Pamela, 100%, it is possible. I don't care where you're at right now. You absolutely can create that, not just weight loss, but weight release. I love how you said that, Judith. Yes. Travel, enjoy my retirement, healthy body. Yes. Right? Like anything that is on your heart, you absolutely can create it. Because if it was not possible for you, it wouldn't be anything that you would hang on to, right? You get to create whatever it is that you're inspired by. But it's about creating that North Star, about where you're going and what you're creating, okay? So when I work with clients, we go through this acronym, IDEA. It's imagine. Imagine what your perfect life, your ideal day would be. So often, like I said, we're just going through the motions and we don't pause. We don't take time to think about, well, what would my life really look like if I wanted it? Like if I was creating it, what would that look like? Right? And then draw is like literally draw it out. Some people would do a vision board. Other people, I love when you actually take like colored pencils, crayons, markers, paint, whatever, and you physically get involved with drawing out your vision because you embody it at that point. Then we evaluate, where are we at now? Where do we get to go? Like, what's the gap? And being able to do that in an objective way. And I have a specific process that I walk clients through. I don't have time to go to it today, but just know it's a matter of identifying what that gap is. And then what's your next best step? How do you activate that vision so you get to live it, right? If your goal is to release weight, is how so you can live it and not diet, right? Nobody ever wants to go on a diet and die with a T on the end of it, right? It's like punctuating that. Okay. So that's really looking at, creating this vibrant vision for your life, of your North Star, of where you're going. What do you want it to look like and feel like and be like? And then one place that you can start is thinking about your ideal vacation, like your best vacation you've ever been on. What made it awesome? What made it the best vacation ever? Take one piece of that and how do you take that and put it into your everyday life? What's one thing you can do to add more of that vacation feel so that you're living like you're on vacation, not like you're living like you're burning out and under somebody else's rule, okay? So that's vibrant vision. If we don't have a North Star, we're just kind of going through the motion, checking the boxes, and we don't have the vitality as fuel for our passion and our life. Optimal health. You guys have heard a lot about optimal health. I'm not going to dive a ton into this because it's so powerful. And if we don't have our health, we don't have anything, right? When I saw my mom literally like in 6 weeks, she went from self-sufficient to being in a nursing home. And I'll never forget the day my brother called me. He's like, Jen, it's time. I was like, time for what? He goes, it's time to put mom in a nursing home. Like, what business does a 49-year-old have in a nursing home? And he goes, well, she's a 49-year-old that's fallen out of her wheelchair a number of times in the last 6 weeks. And this time she got stuck underneath it in the bathroom. The fire department had to break her out. The hospital won't take her anymore. The meds aren't working. Like, this is it. And standing in her living room, sorting through her possessions and having to decide, like if you've ever downsized before or moved, it's like, all right, Goodwill, storage, keep, garbage. And every one of her possessions, she had to make this decision with. And she clung to everything, every single thing. Like, Mom, what about this? Oh, those are my toe socks from the 1970s. I can't give those up. I'm like, there's a hole in two of the toes. She's like, I know, but they just mean so much. All right, what about this thing? That's your brother's ashtray he made me in second grade. I can't give that up. And it was like everything that she had accumulated in her life, she had to make a decision about in that moment. And that for me was when I made the abrupt 90-degree turn away from living on fast food, Diet Mountain Dew, Skittles, Snickers, Twizzlers, and smoking a half pack a day. Like that was my wake up call. And maybe you've had one already, and maybe somebody else's like for you, for me, it was somebody else's that you cared about, right? But if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. You can't live the vibrant life because you don't have your health. So the seeds for optimal health are sleep, exercise, eating, drinking water, socializing, right? These are the seeds. When we plant these, they grow. It's what provides us our health. The thing that I want you to keep in mind always is to ditch the all or nothing. When we live all or nothing, we set ourselves up for failure every single time because it's not sustainable. This is every single diet under the sun. Go overhaul everything in one day, and as long as you can maintain it, you'll be good. You know, I don't know about you, but I remember magazines when I was like 7th, 8th grade, like lose 7 pounds in 7 days. And there's still some of that mentality that's
Oh
out there,
yeah.
right? It's crazy the lies that we bought into because we were conditioned to believe those things. So it's about planting seeds, doing things with intention, and then allowing them to grow. The other thing I will talk about is personalization. And I forget her last name. Is it Sherry Lyons? The last gal that spoke.
Megan.
Megan Lyons. Megan Lyons. Thank you. When she
Yep.
was talking about it's not about doing all of the supplements, but it's like
Mhm.
what's right for your body. If you're not personalizing your nutrition, if you're just trying to plan this one or that one, and I know Pamela, you and I are on the same page with this one, it has to be personalized.
Yep.
What your body, your lifestyle, your family, your taste buds, like all of those things, you have to personalize it so that you can be successful. So, like I said, I'm not going to harp on this because I know that you guys have had a ton of information on this already, but just planting those seeds, personalize it, and take it one step at a time. But focus on the seeds and watch them grow. The more that you fertilize the soil, the more you give them sunshine and happiness about doing the things that are right for your body, the more that you get to grow and fulfill that. Okay. So the place to start is listening to your body. If you haven't gotten to a place yet where you are literally journaling your food and tracking how you feel before you eat and after you eat, start there. That'll give you so much information about why you eat what you eat, which is some of the drivers, right? And also what foods are your best fuel and which ones are sabotaging you. So just start listening to your body, start paying attention to what it's telling you, because it talks to us all day long. But most of us are too busy doing instead of being and really settling in and listening to what it has to say. Okay. The third part of this is optimal self, right? When you have a vision of where you're going, you've got the health to live it. Now it's about optimizing you. And optimizing you is about prioritizing yourself, right? I want you to just pause for a second and think about how many different hats you wear, right? And I just want you to count them up and then put them in the chat. So mom or parent or guardian, spouse or partner or significant other, friend, daughter, son, career, maybe you're a business owner, a leader, an employee, however that looks like for you, but you have a career that you take care of. Think about all the different ways. Maybe you're a fur baby, mom or dad, right? You take care of a four-legged friend, right? And how many of those? So just type in the chat for me, how many different hats do you wear? How many different roles do you have in your life? Maybe you also have student and you're going back to school, or you're a coach, or you're a mentor, or you're a guardian, or you build into other people. But think about how many other people take precedence before you. And I'm not saying you have to be me first, but it's me too, at least. And then think about the oxygen mask, like the flight attendant. She says, put your oxygen mask on first before assisting another passenger. Why? Because if you are not taking care of your needs first, do you have something to give somebody else? Think about it. If you're stressed out, if you're exhausted, if you're overwhelmed, do they get the best of you or do they get the last of you? And the people that we care about the most, the things that we're most passionate about, we want to give them our best, but we've got to take care of ourselves first, which is prioritizing you. It's managing your stress, and it's looking at what's underneath that is causing some of the self-sabotage or causing the extra stress or causing the triggers that you experience. How do we get through those, right? This is an example that I use a lot, right? Yeah, they get part of you, Judith. So when we're looking at what our drivers are, so most people, we'll take weight loss, for example, because it's something I think everybody can relate to. We go, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to cut back on my calories, cut back on my carbs. I'm going to work out. I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to no more soda, no more alcohol, no more whatever. We cut all these things out, right? So that we get the result that we want. And as long as you stay focused on those actions, you can get the results that you want, right? Now, sometimes we lose momentum, we lose energy, we lose focus, we get sidetracked or sabotaged along the way to our goal. But let's say that we get there and that's our goal. And we go, whew, thank God I'm there. Now I can go have a burger and fries, or now I can go have a glass of wine, or now I can have a piece of chocolate, or whatever it is. And it's like the game Chutes and Ladders, right? You're climbing really, really hard to the top of the ladder, and then you get there like, whew, and then we go, whoo, right back down to our default ways of being. And it's not that you go in one day. Some people do. Some people jump off the boat and they're like, yay, I'm there. Now I get to go back to my real life. But it's really a matter of like that slow burn all the way back to our default habits. See, our default habits are based on our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs. And our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are what drive our default ways of being. Just like, I mean, think about it. You don't have to think about how you get to work anymore. You don't think about, a lot of us don't think about how we're going to pause and respond to a situation. We just react, right? And all of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are based on our experiences, our programming, and our influences and our experiences. But our subconscious is what drives 90% of our life. So if we're not addressing what's below the surface, we can really put a lot of effort into change for a while, but it doesn't become sustainable change unless we address what's below the surface. And that's really doing some of that emotional healing, looking at what is the trauma, big trauma, little trauma. Sally didn't sit next to me in the second grade at lunch one day, or we've gone through a divorce, or our parents went through a divorce, we've had loss, we've had deaths in our family. Like all of those influence how we feel about ourselves, how we take care of ourselves, the value that we have in ourselves. Sometimes it's a belief in how much we get to take care of ourselves. So we've got to address what's below the surface, because those are the things that actually sabotage our overall success. Those are the things that keep us stuck from being able to move forward and really reach our goals. Like happiness is an inside job. Don't let anyone become responsible for your happiness. You can't choose the scenarios that happen to you, but you get to choose how you react to them. And one of the things that Deb and I spent some time doing is really looking at the trauma that she was carrying, the stress that she was carrying in her body, and the anger and the resentment and the sadness and the fear of all those things that she went through for that 2 years of time, which compiled and piled onto what she went through as a kid and how that was all showing up in her body. So when we addressed the vision and we looked at her physical health and what her body really needed, and we addressed this emotional piece and what's below the surface of our beliefs and our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences, that is what combined allowed her to create what her optimal life is. Okay. Brenda, I love that. Thank you for being on my mailing list for 15 years. Love that. Right? Be yourself, love yourself. If you take anything away from our time together, like this is the thing I want you to land, is you get to nourish and nurture yourself just for who you are. And you get to take care of you and your needs first so that you can go and do all the things and love on all the people that you love on and really build a life and a legacy that you love, right? Because it's you. You're the only one that gets to live your life, period. And you get to do that and you get to live a life that you love every single day. Where to start? Got to ask, what works for me?
All
Does
right, Jen,
this serve me?
Jen,
Yeah,
we're at time.
sorry, it's my last slide.
No worries. Anywhere.
But take that last piece and go, does this work for me in everything? And start there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. And the link to her gift is in the chat, so you can just click on that and grab it as well. Thank you so much, Jen. Yes, put yourself at least higher on your list of priorities. Put yourself on the list if you're not on there. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.